Hello and welcome to today's video. I'm your host, Nightmarish, and in today's video, we're going to be discussing a TikTok trend. It's a TikTok trend that has been popular for, well, a little bit, and it's art related. Yay! So this TikTok trend is basically comparing canon to fanon. If you don't know what that means, I'm going to try and explain it in the simplest way possible. Canon is basically an event that will occur in the story, the way a character acts, the way that they are intended to act by the author, by the original character, something that is confirmed by the creator. Like, for example, this character's favorite color is red. And fanon is basically the fan interpretation of that character. It's speculations, theories, and redesigns that people make based on how they see that character. And this TikTok trend basically pokes fun at the fandom and the fandom culture because of the fact that oftentimes horrible characters are portrayed in a really sweet and caring way within the fandom, when in reality that's not how they actually are. So artists are basically depicting what if my original characters had a fandom, how the fandom mischaracterized them or simplify them or just, mess them up essentially. With there being a common trait of abusers' actions being excused. Like, for example, this character is a horrible abuser, a horrible person with narcissistic personality traits, but the way the fandom will view them is as a sweet, misunderstood character. Or this character is morally bankrupt, a horrible person, is essentially really evil, but then the fandom will find a way to twist it to make it so that the character is, again, just a misunderstood little baby. And this is very common within fandoms. This is a trend that was done a lot, and when I came across it, I really didn't see an issue with it. I just scrolled past it. I think seeing different artists' lore, seeing how they depict their characters is very interesting, and I think realistically it was just an excuse for artists to show off their OCs, which valid because I would love to show off my OCs, but the way that the trend was twisted is very weird. But before we continue with this video, before I get to my super rant part, the meat and potatoes of this video, I have to mention this. I have to shout out this YouTube channel, this one right here, because the whole reason this video exists is because of that video. This video is a really, really good video, and I suggest actually watching it and subscribing to the creator because they did an amazing job with that video, and it really inspired me to download TikTok again and check out what was happening. So please go and subscribe to them. Amazing content. Their points are way better than whatever ramble I'm gonna go on about. But okay, this is the rambling section of the video now. So part of the reason why people began hating on this trend is because they were seeing a large amount of edgy OCs. Huge quotations around edgy, like characters that had problematic traits, such as, for example, this character raped somebody, or this character is manipulative or a horrible person, abuses children, kills animals, stuff along that line. A lot of people didn't like that because of the fact that there were a lot of people with the same or similar traits, which really caused a lot of people to be pissed off because they thought, oh man, these creators are just really trying to be tryhard, shock humor, trying to provoke the audience, trying to get a reaction because, of course, these are unsettling topics, and they just assume that it's rage bait or something that the creator includes for the sake of including it, not because it's important to the story or anything. So that's part of the reason why a lot of people are mad, and my opinion on this is, well, of course it's gonna be provoking. The point of the trend is to show off characters that are horrible, really bad characters, and obviously these characters would do horrible actions. And since it's a lot of people hopping on this trend, I feel like some aspects, some traits of toxic people would be repeated since this is a trend, and a lot of people are doing this trend. So the OC being narcissistic, manipulative, it's just something I think is common for an evil character. for a really bad person. It's just something that's commonly used to portray that a person is bad. And it's important to highlight that since a lot of people are doing these trends, a lot of people are going to try and grab your attention with one of the worst things that the OC has done. Like, for example, an animal abuser, a rapist, a child abuser, a pet. Traits like that is something that a lot of people are complaining about because they're like, you're just seeking for attention, you're just trying to get people to react, which I don't think this is true, because again, it's just portraying bad characters, and bad characters often do bad things. These are things people go through. Like, a lot of people have gone through these horrible things, and oftentimes they like to portray it in their original characters. Am I saying that all creators who make OCs like this have gone through something like this? No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that it's something bad, and it commonly occurs, so it's often represented in media, such as art. I can understand the annoyance of seeing this whole trait over and over and over again, but again, the best thing to just do is scroll, because this is a trend, and a lot of things are gonna be repeated. It tends to be very repetitive. It tends to be not very original. It's a trend. It's a TikTok trend, especially. It's short, it's quick, it's meant to grab your attention. Come on. Another criticism that people have mentioned of this trend is that they're saying stuff like, well, just because your OC is problematic doesn't mean that it has good writing. That means that your story is lazy or lackluster or really bad. And that doesn't make sense. That statement doesn't make sense because of the fact that you're only getting a sneak peek of the OC. You're getting the main points of the OC. You can't assume everything about the story. And oftentimes, when I saw these trends, they didn't name a story, a plot or anything. They just named what the horrible character had done. So to say that this story is horrible, or it's not worth reading, or it's corny, it's not original, it's a horrible story simply off of one character that you've seen and the traits of it, is really dumb. It's not true. You can't just assume a piece of media is bad just because it has bad people. And on top of that fact, you don't know the artist's intention or story, and that's why it's important not to label this character edgy or rage bait just because you've seen it once or you've seen it repeated a bunch of times. You don't know their story, and I think it's silly to assume immediately that these people are trying to engagement farm or rage bait, because it's you don't know. These are their original characters. You're just seeing one of them. You can't assume an entire story is bad based off of one character when you haven't even seen the story. I'm talking from the point of view of a person who's just scrolling through TikTok and randomly sees this trend. You don't know anything about their story, and to just assume that it's bad, it's really silly and weird again. I think this trend really points out an important thing about fandoms, which is that fandoms often mischaracterize very serious characters or very bad characters, like I said in the beginning. Also, a lot of people complained that this trend was attention seeking and saying that there's no fandom for your OC. No one cares about your OC. Damn, bro. I'm sorry, but genuinely, what does it matter if that creator doesn't have a fandom? Because they're just pointing out and critiquing things that commonly happen in popular fandoms, and it's a repetition, and it's just a critique of what constantly happens. So if their story were to blow up, it's not an insane thought to think that what happened to other characters would happen to their characters. It's not main character syndrome or trying to seek attention or trying to say, oh, look at me, if I had a fandom. No, it's just a TikTok trend. It's a TikTok trend. It doesn't even kill to scroll. It doesn't kill to scroll past it or press not interested. I don't know. I've said this a lot of times, dude. Just don't, if you don't like it, don't press it. And again, I'm pretty sure this is just an excuse for most artists to show off their original characters and get a lot of views, and to just show off and probably expose it to some people who might be interested in their story. I also really like the aspect of the criticism, because the ones that I really enjoy and that really stick with me is the ones that relate to fandom. Like, for example, there was this one where the character had darker skin tone and the fandom were to whitewash it, make them into a bimbo or himbo or overly sexualized and call them cute and kawaii or whatever. I think that's a really important point to make, because oftentimes fandom just twists the character to not even fit the original. It has no relation to the original. At this point, it's just like a fandom version of the character, and that's the point of the whole trend. I hope I'm being clear. Here's a short video that I really agree with, and just here's a segment of videos that I agree with that have really good points that I think summarize my whole point.
Are you not going to participate in the Canon X Fanon OC trend?
I was, but I'm not vibing with the trend anymore, TBH.
Because of the edgy OCs?
Of course not. This is the internet, so obviously artists are going to pick their OC's most shocking characteristics in order to draw attention to the post, and that doesn't take away the work that might have come into making them or their possible deepness. What gets me is how so many seem to hate their non-existent fandom while also deeply misunderstanding fandom as a whole. The same way you oversimplified your Aki for a trend, fandom can also do that. Not because they are a bunch of morons incapable of understanding your deep characters, but simply because it liked the characters a lot to the point of wanting to play with them. Just because instead of only praising how profound your complex supervillain they are making it say roar XD, doesn't mean that they don't get your OC. You don't have to like everything fandom does, but it's also not fair to want a fandom but also get super offended when said fandom does completely normal fandom stuff. I've seen some on-point criticism of whitewashing and the avoidance of characters that are overweight, which is nice. Wish more people were pointing out that instead of woobified, female characters would just get ignored though LMAO.
You can admit that you are procrastinating the trend.
But I guess that's it for my rant. That's it. Again, just go to the other creator. I don't think I said too much. I just spoke about what I really wanted to in relation to this trend. But I think it's important for you guys to go and support like the creator who made that video, because again, that video is really good and you should support them and subscribe to them and watch them. Like, a lot of their points are really good and expand on whatever I'm saying over here. But yeah, this was just me rambling, yapping about stuff that I saw this week. I guess this is the end of the video. If you enjoyed the video, why not just leave me a like? Just leave me a like. And you know what? Subscribing doesn't hurt. Like, it doesn't hurt whatsoever while at least you're down there. And also, while at least you're down there giving me a like, comment your opinion, thoughts, criticisms. I'ma read them. You know, I'm gonna read them. I really liked your long essay comments. I really like reading your comments. Disagree, agree, but remember to keep it respectful in the comments, okay? We're respectful down there. But yeah, thank you for watching. Bye.